Have you ever been so certain about something, only to have someone look you right in the eye and tell you it just never happened? At first, it probably feels like a simple misunderstanding. But when it keeps happening, that pattern, well, it becomes impossible to ignore. And that's when the doubt creeps in. First, you start questioning your memory. Then, it's your judgment. And before you know it, you're questioning your entire sense of reality itself. What you're experiencing isn't just a disagreement. It's actually a calculated psychological attack. It's called gaslighting. So today, we're going to break it all down. We'll walk through the 7 key signs of gaslighting, and then, and this is the important part, we'll lay out a clear strategy to help you reclaim your control. All right, let's get right into it. The very first sign is a tactic known as countering. It starts when you remember something happening in a very specific way. And they'll say something like, "Are you sure about that? You always get things wrong." Dr. Chivonna Childs calls this tactic countering. The goal isn't to correct you. It's to challenge your memory so intensely that you start to doubt yourself. Think about it. Maybe your partner promised to go to an important event with you. But when you bring it up, they say, "I never said that. You're remembering things wrong again." When this happens over and over, you eventually stop trusting your own mind, and you start trusting theirs instead. Okay, the second sign to be on the lookout for is what experts call emotional trivializing. And this one happens when you try to express that your feelings are hurt. They hit you with, "You're overreacting," or "You're just too sensitive." Jennifer Hewson explains that this is a way to dismiss your totally valid feelings so they never have to take any accountability. Let's say a friend's jokes about you are genuinely hurtful. You tell them that, and they just roll their eyes and say, "It was just a joke, relax." After a while, you stop speaking up. What's the point, right? And next up, we have sign number 3, tactical withholding. This is what happens when you're trying to have a really important, serious conversation. And they just shut you down with, "I don't even know what you're talking about, you're confusing me." The experts at Simply Psychology identify this as a deliberate tactic. If they avoid the conversation, they can avoid responsibility. So you bring up a serious concern, and they just sigh and say, "You're just trying to start a fight," and then they walk out. There's never a resolution. There's just exhaustion. The fourth sign is called systematic denial. This is when you have concrete proof, a text message, a screenshot, something you can hold in your hand, and they still look at you and say, "That never happened. You're imagining things." The National Domestic Violence Hotline actually identifies this systematic denial as a core pattern in psychological abuse. And when it's repeated enough over a long period of time, psychologists have a name for the effect: reality confusion. You literally start to lose the ability to trust what's real. Now for sign number 5, and this one is really tricky: scapegoat blame shifting. This is the move where you confront them about something they did, but somehow by the end of it, it's all your fault. They'll say, "Well, I would act this way if you weren't so controlling." Researcher Paige L explains that at its heart, gaslighting is all about power. And blame shifting makes you feel guilty for even daring to question them. So you find out they've been lying, but they flip it, and suddenly you're the one who's untrusting. And it's wild because you can actually end up apologizing for their betrayal. So you stop questioning them, and you start questioning yourself. If any of this is starting to feel familiar, I really need you to hear this. You are not alone. And even more importantly, you are not crazy. Recognizing these patterns for what they are, that's the real first step toward protecting yourself. Okay, let's move on to sign number 6, which is called diverting and discrediting. With this tactic, you'll bring up a completely valid concern, but instead of addressing it, they just attack your credibility. They'll say things like, "You've been acting really strange lately. I don't think you're thinking clearly." Olivia Guy Evans explains that this is a preemptive strike. It makes other people doubt you before you even get a chance to speak. Imagine you bring up a serious issue at work, but your manager has already been quietly telling your colleagues that you're going through something. Just like that, your voice is gone before anyone even has a chance to hear you. And that brings us to the 7th and final sign: revisionist history. This one is maybe the most audacious tactic of all, because it's where reality itself is actively rewritten. Events get retold, roles are completely reversed, and somehow they emerge as the victim. Let's say after hours of them belittling you, you finally raise your voice. They pull out their phone and record it, and now they have proof. See, they just started screaming for no reason. The experts at Monima Wellness explain that gaslighters don't just deny the past, they literally reconstruct it. And over time, you can start to doubt not just what happened, but who you even are. So now that we've identified all these signs, we have to talk about the solution. Because just being aware isn't quite enough. You need a clear, actionable strategy. Okay, here it is. Step 1, document the disconnect. Keep a private, time-stamped journal. Save voice memos on your phone. Screenshot the evidence and immediately send it to a person you trust. This is so important because when they try to rewrite reality, you'll have actual proof of what really happened. Now, step 2, the gray rock method. You have to understand you cannot win an argument with someone who is actively rewriting reality. As Dr. Robin Stern explains it, you win by removing their fuel. You become neutral, boring, completely unresponsive. No long explanations, no big emotional reactions. Remember her words. A fire cannot burn without fuel. You become that gray rock, and you just watch as their power over you completely disappears. You know, the most dangerous part of gaslighting isn't the big, obvious manipulation. It's how quietly it all happens. You don't notice it in one big moment. You notice it when you realize you stop trusting yourself. But that moment, the moment you finally recognize the pattern, that is the moment you start to take back control. If this explainer helped you see things a little more clearly, please consider subscribing to our channel for more psychological tools like this. And I'd really like to know, let us know in the comments which sign you've seen the most often, because sometimes just recognizing the pattern is the most powerful first step to finally breaking it.